Hello. Today I would like to talk to you about how to use be and do in the simple present tense. First of all, let's look at the verb to be. The verb to be is an exception to all the rules in English, and it is one of the most popular, most used verbs. We say that it's an exception because it has three different forms in the affirmative. So I am, you are, he, she, or it is, we are, you are, and they are. To make these verbs into negatives, you add the adverb not. I am not becomes I'm not. You are not, you aren't. He is not, or she is not, isn't. We are not, we aren't. You are not, this would be considered as a plural, you aren't. They are becomes they are not, or they aren't. When we use be in questions, we invert the subject and the verb. So a sentence like I am becomes am I? Where am I? You are becomes are you? What are you doing? Is he? How old is he? Are we? What are we eating? Are you? Where are you going? Are they? How tall are they? We use be for several reasons. Here are some of them. First of all, it can be used to describe a physical state. Are you hungry? Yes, I am hungry. For age, how old are you? Oh, that's a secret, but I am older than you are. To describe weight, she's underweight. Size, it's a tall building. Color, my car is white. We use it to describe facts. I am a woman. And emotions, he is really happy. Next, let's look at do when it is used as a verb. Like all simple present verbs, the he, she, and it form, so third person singular form, requires an S in the simple present affirmative. So do is no exception to that rule. I would say, I do, you do, he, she, or it does, we do, and they do. And now look at some sentences. I do the dishes every day, meaning I wash the dishes every day. You do your homework at night, which means you complete the activities for learning at night. He does a good job. We do our best. They do their shopping on the weekends. But we can also use do as a negative auxiliary, and we're going to look at some examples. I work at Zara. This is an affirmative sentence. But if I want to make it negative, I say I don't work at Sears. Don't is a contraction of do not. And we see that we spell it by putting an apostrophe between the N and the T that replaces the O. She likes cats. Third person singular, I need an S on my verb, but when do becomes a negative auxiliary, the S moves to my auxiliary. She doesn't like dogs. We see here there is no S. It's because it's on my auxiliary. They have 2 children. They don't have any children. We grow tomatoes in our garden. We don't grow carrots in our garden. So in these sentences, do serves the purpose of an auxiliary. It is a helping verb, and we conjugate the auxiliary and not the verb. The same rule applies for questions. I can use do as an auxiliary verb. Where do you live? Do in this case is my helper, my auxiliary, and it agrees with my subject. My verb goes back to the base form. Why does he have a job? I put an S on my auxiliary does because my subject is he. And my verb goes back to the base form, no S. In certain situations, I can have do as an auxiliary and do as a verb. What do you do? That question means, what is your job? So again, to review, I can say, when do you study? Do is my auxiliary. It agrees with my subject you, and then my verb is in the base form. We will study more about this later, but it is important to know that do as an auxiliary can also be used in the past, and that becomes did. For example, what did you do last night? Here, did is my auxiliary. We can also use do to make negative imperative sentences. For example, I could say, please close the door. But if I want you not to close the door, I say, don't close the door. Stop talking. Don't talk while I am talking. Sit down, please. Don't stand in front of other students. Put your cell phones away. Don't use your cell phones in class. Good luck. With some practice, you will be able to master using the difference between be and do. You can practice with some exercises. You can talk to yourself in the mirror. You can watch movies or videos with subtitles. And of course, you can study. Thank you for listening.